Welcome back to another video. I just got back from Christmas, flew back to Missouri, spent it with my family. Great to see them, but we are back on the boat. Ideally, I'm trying to leave the Keys the next 7 to 10 days, depending on if I get things done. I'm not on a time crunch, but I'd like to stick to the schedule to keep me going. So, of course, this video is going to be full of last-minute projects, getting this boat shipshape ready to go. What I'm currently working on here, you can see I'm behind the helm, and the boat, when I bought it, had these speakers, and you can tell they obviously don't work. They weren't even wired up to anything, and you can see through them. So that was not watertight in the slightest, and rain splashes, they were leaking through these holes here. And so what I had done is I put like a styrofoam bowl behind it, and it was just a patch until I figured what I was going to do with the holes. I was going to put new speakers or what. But what I've decided to do is I've got a couple of these portholes here, and I had to enlarge the hole by maybe a third of an inch with this jigsaw here. And then this guy fits in nice and tight now. Gonna silicone around the outside, get her screwed down, and then repeat the whole process. Behind me, got another one over there. So got both of those portholes installed, and really only had to cut off like a little bit of that fiberglass, then drilled and siliconed around it, screwed them in. They look great. Finally won't have to worry about waves crashing over and coming into the back berth. Obviously no good. So big thanks to Jerry and Terry. They each sent me one of those portholes. And then also thank you to Michael Staley. He sent me this little set of, sorry, gotta get them pulled out here. These set of like jigsaw blades, and there's a ton of them. And as you know, jigsaw blades always break, but all sorts of sizes and metals, metal, wood, fiberglass. So huge thank you to him for sending those over. And he also sent over a drill bit set as well. And so I think there's like, what is it, 99 pieces on the drill bit set. Crazy. So a huge thanks to them. Those are obviously great parts to have on the boat. And that wraps up that project. While I was back there, I pulled off my shore power plug as well, as it had a rubber seal in there, and you could tell it was old. And so I decided, while I had all the tools out, I went and sanded around it, and then re-silicone, screwed that back in. And then I think I showed you in the earlier, I had that winch handle too. I installed that, and big thanks to Chris Brima, who sent over that winch handle. So those are all great. Got those back there. Everything's waterproofed, siliconed, all ready to go. And now on to the next project. So the next thing I'm going to try to tackle is tinkering with my outboard. And unfortunately, after I had spent all this time getting it fixed and running great, well, not it. As I was leaving for Christmas, I took my dinghy out of the water, and I was getting it all taken apart, and I lifted up my outboard. As I was trying to set it up on the seawall, it fell back in the water. But I grabbed it before it sank, but I think it got some salt water in it because I couldn't get her started on my way back. So I had to row back, and I think we're going to just try to take it apart and see what we can see. Maybe some salt water got into, you know, like this spark plug or the carburetor. I rinsed it down with fresh water for like 15 minutes after that happened, but I was afraid it wasn't going to start again. So we're going to tear into it, see what we can find out, and hopefully we can get her fixed and running again. So I've pretty much got the engine put back together. A few small parts left to do, but I'm gonna go ahead and toss it on the dinghy, get hooked up to the fuel tank, see if we can get it started or even hear anything. Wanted to give a thanks to Chris Primo. He sent me over this putty here, or grease if you want to call it. It's like electrical contact grease. And so what I did is I went through all the electrical systems as well, and stuck a bit of this grease. Like, I kind of used a wire brush, cleaned them up, and then this is supposed to be conductive grease that helps keep them from rusting and corroding. So big thanks to him. He also sent me over a new bilge pump as well. I have as a spare. So really appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. And we're gonna get this tossed on the dinghy now, and like I said, try to give her a start and see if we can't make any progress. So outboard is running great. I just did a couple laps around the boat. Fast, responsive, sounds good, feels good. I am very happy to hear that. Hopefully it stays this way. I've got her in reverse right now. I'm gonna leave it for a couple minutes, let it keep running through everything, and make sure I can flush out any water that was still left in there, get everything oiled back up, and make sure she's still happy. But this outboard keeps giving me troubles. Anyways, I'm happy. It's a beautiful day, and glad she's working again, so we're not stranded. So that is really gonna wrap it up for today. Got a lot done. It was actually a great day. Even though we had some hiccups, it felt good to be back, get things rocking and rolling. I've got a 3D print that just finished, and you can see this is about as big as I'm going to be able to print on this machine. It's a small printer. I've got big hands, but this is a great size print. And what this is going to be is a mount for over on the helm, the cockpit. And I've got a lot of supports to remove, but the idea is the torch light would fit in here, and once I remove the rest, it'll set lower. And then my handheld VHF would fit in here, and it would set somewhat like this on the helm there, have both of those accessible. I've got another clip part to print, like I said, clean her up a bit. But that's gonna be cool. Probably get that printed, all those small pieces tomorrow. The sun's setting, and so I don't want to run the printer and drain my batteries, you know, once the sun sets. But for the rest of this evening, I've got a few parts I'd like to design and print. I've got this new stern white navigation light, and it has a front housing too, but I need to print a clip so it'll mount on the back, slot in there. So that should be an easy part to design this afternoon. And then I also have just a simple fishing rod holder for the back there. I'm gonna print some clips so I can mount this to the back stanchion, sort of like I made the two-part clip for that outboard mount. Something similar to that is what I'm thinking. Like I said, we'll figure out as I'm designing here. But that should keep me occupied for the afternoon, and then tomorrow morning I've got some tools I'm getting collected here. I've got a new anchor light to install. My last one has stopped working, and I traced the power all the way back from the breaker panel to the deck step mast, which is right up here, and still have 12 volts there. So I need to climb to the top and see if I've got 12 volts at the top. Maybe my just connector's bad. The LED should be good. I just installed that a couple months ago. But either way, this one should be a lot brighter, and so I'm going to get that hopefully installed tomorrow if the wind dies down. But enough of my yapping here. I will see you tomorrow. So I might have lied earlier when I said I was going to see you tomorrow. I got to cleaning this 3D print, and it looks super cool, so I went ahead and printed the back mount too. It only took 30 minutes. Got her installed here, and it's kind of hard to see it dark at night. I think it looks really good. I got the handheld spotlight here, so you can see that's easy access for sailing at night. And then also have the handheld VHF. And that way I can have this at all times and hear it. It's on there nice and sturdy. I think these things will stay as well. I guess only time will tell. Super cool print though, and very excited to have that. I think it's gonna be a great addition to the helm here. Got my cup holder, and then got to get some more mounts, little feet for this, but that's a phone holder there. So pretty cool. That wraps it up. Now I'll see you tomorrow. So it's the next day, already like 3 o'clock. I took a trip to shore, ran some errands, and if you can't tell, also ran by the store. I've pulled just about everything out of my food storage, reorganizing, going through everything, trying to see what I have, what I need. I'm not entirely leaving it or fully stocked up, but it's a good time to do it now. And so getting everything cleaned, and then I got some more stuff on shore still too. Filled up an Uber with food and supplies, and then probably this afternoon, the wind is just dying down, we'll get up on top of that mast. So up here on deck, got everything I believe set up to climb the mast. I'm gonna get finally fully clipped in, and then we'll see if we can climb the top here. The wind's starting to pick up again, but unfortunately this is the last day this week. This is the least amount of wind this week, so I gotta do it now while I can, but hopefully it won't be too rocky up there. I guess we're about to find out. Back on the ground. Unfortunately, did not get the anchor light completed today. That was my neighbor Steve. He was just heading off. I climbed up to the top, got the anchor light, the old one, pulled off, and then I was like, oh man, I forgot to turn the breaker on. I brought my multimeter. I was going to test the wire and see if I had 12 volts or not. So I give Steve a call. I seen his dinghy over by his boat, and he's like, yeah, I can come over and help you out. And so we turned the breaker on. No power at the top. So I tried taking the top plate off of the mast and see if the wires maybe like soldered together or something. But now I can't get the top plate off either. There's 2 screws, and one of which is just not budging. We hauled up some WD-40, gave her a try, nothing's working. So Steve's a cool guy. Thanks to him, he said tomorrow if we want to tackle it again and bring a drill up, try to drill it out and see if that won't work. So that's it for today. Like I said, gonna clean up, do some other little things. Kind of bummed because I thought I had everything ready, been planning for this, and couldn't get her. But at least you know, at least we know what it's not. Now we gotta find out what the problem is. See you tomorrow. Next part we're gonna be working on installing is a new stern white navigation light, and it has this whole housing for it. Thanks to Terry Baker who sent this over to me. As you can probably see right now, this is the old light I have. I tossed it on before I left Pensacola because this boat did not have a stern light, and obviously I lost the tap. The top cap got knocked off. Poor place to put it. It's rusting. It's not even that bright. So amazing upgrade for this. And next clip that you're watching right now, this is where I'm trying to mount it at, and you can tell obviously there's only one hole on this metal plate. I'm assuming this is where the original light was. And it's very similar to the one on my bow. There's like a locking mechanism that's all metal. Quite a little complex piece to fit on that slot. What I've decided to do instead is 3D print this adapter, and I designed this Fusion 360. Got a couple nuts in there, and the idea is, it'll be easier to show you, but it's super windy out there, but this would this top part would line up with the hole, slide in like this, and then these 2 holes here line up with these 2 holes. Bada boom, bada bang. Now this is mounted on the metal plate, and then this front piece screws on there. So we'll see if this actually fits on that plate the way I designed it to. But if so, you'll be seeing in the next clip here how it looks. And what I'm going to do real quick before I close it all up, use some of this electrical contact grease, and I'm going to go ahead and coat everything. It's got a rubber seal, and I'm going to silicone these holes as well once the bolts are in. But I figured it's a smart idea, being in a salty environment. Go ahead and give it some extra protection there. So next project, revisiting the halyard puck, that's what I was calling it. This is the latest iteration. Going through quite a few of these, but I'll see if I can show you what this one's going to be like. You can tell, oops, this back profile has changed quite a bit. Before I just had a bit of a loop on the bottom that the elastic cord went through, and then I tied a knot in it, and I had a few people complaining about that in the comments. And so that gave me thinking, like, sure, it'd be a good place to hide the knot back there. But there's really not. These things are pretty thin, as you can tell, and so there's not a lot of room to hide a knot, and obviously the knot didn't look all that good. So what I have tried to come up with here. Well, this is my first test, so we'll see if it works, but you can tell the ends of each elastic loops around through here, and then it hangs out the bottom like so. And my thought process is I can then put a decent bit of glue inside of here to hold these in. And I think as is, they're already holding in pretty well. Obviously, I think once we glue it down, hopefully it'll be strong enough that they'll last. And then I added a couple little indentations as well that I figured we could put some silicone in. And then we'll try sanding a patch and gluing that on, because I like the idea of not having the screw in the face of it. And then also it just saves me from drilling a hole in the boat. And so that was what one person commented. The hot glue obviously did not last. It lasted about a week and then it popped off. And so I've got some silicone here, and we'll see if I can try that. And then hopefully, like I said, that'll look a lot cleaner. And then still that same profile on the top, that same feature there. So anyways, that's my yapping on this project. I'm going to try to find a place to mount this one, and then we'll see if we can, if it'll work. So I'm going to attempt climbing up the mast again today, and what I've got different this time is I went ahead and bought me like a Ryobi cordless drill, and there's that one screw up on the top that I can't get off. So I'm going to, what I did is I kind of soaked it in some WD-40, like marine anti-corrosion, I don't know what you want to call it, but hopefully that had done some magic while it's been up there, and I can just go ahead and unscrew it. I also am bringing up some vice grips with me to try that. Really don't want to drill like out the screw, but if it comes down to it, in my little baggie here, I bought me I don't know what they call them, but these little like counterclockwise things, and you can drill a hole into the screw, and if you're turning it left, this thing threads in and then locks and undoes the screw. So that's a bunch of unscientific terms there for you. Hopefully with these things I'll be able to get that top plate off and then diagnose again and see if there's voltage underneath the plate or not, and that'll determine where we go from there. But I guess I will see you at the top again. Made it back to the ground after the second climb up. You can't tell, it's quite the workout. I'm exhausted. Did not make any progress still. I can't get the darn screw off. I tried the drill bits, and they really weren't making any progress on the screw. And I tried the blowtorch on it, and then the vice grips, still couldn't get anything. It's not the easiest work environment, obviously. I'm trying to stand on two cords, lift myself up, and do tools while the boat's swaying. So, I mean, on the ground, you'd probably be really easy to pop it off, but I just can't get the darn thing. And I was probably up there half an hour or more, and then just get exhausted and get a little sick too. So, back on the ground, I don't know at this point what I'm going to do. I need to recover, think about it, take some rest. Maybe just bring a bigger drill bit. I don't know. I'll let you know later, though. So, future Damon here. I just kind of wanted to fill in, let you know what happened. The video is kind of all over the place. I've been all over the place myself trying to get all these little things done, getting excited. But I climbed the mast twice, and as you can tell, couldn't make any progress. Now that I've recovered, my thought process for the next time I'm up there, I'll try to bring a bigger drill bit. The small ones, I kept breaking while I was up there. And then I drilled a bit of a hole that I think if I could get a bigger bit, maybe I could just go ahead and drill the whole screw out and try that, because at this point I'm thinking I need to get that plate off to get the wire. I did go ahead and order a spool of, it's like 100 foot of marine grade wire. That should be the right gauge for that anchor light, and so that's just already coming on the way, just in case if it comes down to it I got to run a whole new wire. Might as well have that ordered so that way it doesn't hold me up any more than it has to. But that's where we're at. Those halyard pucks, so far they're working great. I printed maybe 10 or 12 of them, got them all around the boat up on deck, and they're holding great so far, and so that's going well. And then yeah, I'm already started working on some more projects, and you'll be seeing that in the next video here once I get that one out too. But I appreciate everyone for watching, all the support. You guys sent me a lot of parts over, and so big thank you to those. If you didn't see those in this video, hopefully they'll be in the next one as I'm using them. But thanks to everyone. Happy New Year's. Appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video.